Yeah, well, going everyone, Sanju Chie here. So today we'll be covering One Piece manga chapter 984 entitled My Bible. Of course, be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into the chapter review. So, honestly, not gonna lie, not only has Oda gone the route with the story which I feel like a lot of persons were more comfortable with, because in the last few weeks, persons have been debating, theorizing, what is Yamato's relation to Oden? Is he Oden? Is Oden still alive? And honestly, Oden being alive would have been the worst case scenario for the story. Honestly, especially everything his death meant to the story. For him to still be alive, it would take away from that moment. The Hour of Legends, which was totally epic. So for to see Oda actually come into this chapter and get rid of those concerns and also turn our expectations on their head the true identity of Yamato, Jano, Oda, this chapter really is building towards something big. Like for the last few chapters, Oda seemingly is building towards something big, and we get the confirmation of that with this chapter as things are going forward with the Beast Pirates and the special announcement that Kaido has to make. Now, cover page wise, this chapter does start off. We see that Chiffon and Lola find out that Pound is their father, so I'm kind of interested to see what's going to come of that, or where this cover story is going to go in the long run. So there's that. That aside, we can basically split the chapter into three sections where we have Law's group, Jinbei, Robin, and the Samurai's group, as well as Luffy's group. Might be missing a group there, but let's get into it. So we find out that for the most part, a lot of the samurai have actually started to integrate with the crowd of the Beast Pirates, and they're still unrecognized for the most part. Meanwhile, Orochi, Kaido, they basically plan to go ahead with the execution, but Kaido himself is still waiting on Big Mom. But he's decided, instead of making the announcement when they find Yamato, and instead he's going to make the announcement with Momo's execution. So I guess that does kind of push the pace along. I'm kind of interested to find out what this project Onigashima is. So there's that. Of course, I guess Kaido's gotten tired of waiting for the Tobiropo to find Yamato, so there is that. Also, we do get, the aftermath of last chapter with, Yamato coming in and just clobbering Ulti and the whole page one situation. We actually do start off the chapter with them, and I think what this chapter really solidifies is how strong a lot of these characters are. The Tobiropo as well as Yamato, because page one himself seems to be absolutely fine. He's kind of just shrugging off and making it seem like the Gear 3rd armament hockey elephant gun wasn't much really. And of course, we do have Ulti basically pushing off the medical team, and the usual gag between her and page one, which was funny to see. I think the funniest part of the chapter for me personally was when Jinbei and Robin were basically blending in with the Beast Pirates when they were basically explaining what they want to happen to Momo. Like, that's one panel with Robin just blending in was awesome, especially since she has such a how should I put it, an interesting sense of humor. It does fall in line with her character to fall in with the act, which I thought was pretty funny. Funniest part of the chapter for me. So there's that. But the meat and potatoes of the chapter does come at the end, but also we have Law's group, who have actually finally landed on Onigashima, of course making perfect use of Law's abilities. They apparently come towards the rear of Onigashima. They come to the surface with the submarine with Law's ship. Law uses the room to basically switch place with a part of the island. He kind of chops off, it seems, based on how the paneling was done. And of course, we have Law, Marco, Nikamamushi, Inarashi, what else am I missing? Izo, Kiku. What else am I missing here? Kawamatsu. Yeah, quite a few of them are there. And of course, we do have the reveal of Izo as well as Nikamamushi finally being there in action. Of course, it does seem like Izo has a slight scar. I don't know if it was a good enough reason to hold off on revealing or showing Izo before on Oda's part, if I'm being honest, but it is what it is. They did have that nice speech with him and Nekomamushi, who seems to have a like a gun arm right now, which is fun and interesting. Um, so there's that. So apparently they're pretty close to Kaido, so I'm interested in seeing how that's going to play up on Law's part. There's so many moving parts to this, and everything's really building towards like a full-out war on Onigashima. I mean, the numbers aside, we have some ridiculous amount of characters in terms of the respective armies on both sides, but with how things are being set up right now, with the samurai infiltrating the hall and the whole execution grounds, where we have, you know, Kaido, King, Queen, Jack, and Orochi. Knowing these characters, something is going to isn't going to go to plan, and all hell is going to break loose. So I'm looking forward to that, and that's obviously what Oda is building towards. Really love it. No, Yamato. Yamato. As I said in the beginning, not only has Oda gone down the routes that a lot of us wanted, but he also managed to turn expectations on our head. But it also brings forth some interesting questions when it comes on to the interpersonal drama of like Kaido and his family. So we see Yamato trying to take Luffy and talk to him, but Luffy's in a hurry, so he's just trying to ward off, try to fight off Yamato. And of course, this does speak to Yamato's strength, because we see him, quote unquote, basically blocking a Gear 3 elephant gun, and he in quotes seemingly has no problem fighting against Luffy, even though we know Luffy's not trying his hardest. But I mean, the fact that he can block. I'm sorry, but just can't help it. If you've read the chapter, you know what I mean. Basically, Yamato managed to get him and Luffy out of there, basically to talk, and we find out that Yamato was actually there during the Hour of Legend back in the day, and like a lot of persons I saw covering or doing discussions suspected or theorized, Yamato is just a person who's not Oden, that has become inspired by the legend of Kozuki Oden, given that he witnessed firsthand the execution and the Hour of Legend itself, which I feel like was the better way, the best route that Oda could have gone down. No, of course, we get the revelation that Yamato is actually a woman, so Kaido's son is actually his daughter, which is wild to me, because when you really think about it, we have Kaido basically acknowledge, he doesn't call her. Basically, Kaido seemingly has agreed on calling his daughter his son. So that's the interesting part that I'm wondering. We do know that he did, well, she did basically tell Kaido that she wants to be Kozuki Oden, and of course, Kaido. It's just wild to me. Kaido basically clobbered her, basically. And obviously, the big revelation as well is that Yamato, has Oden's journal, the same journal he would have had on his journey with Whitebeard and Roger. So in terms of the secrets of the world, and well, if Oden would have really written all of that, the specifics, but he more than likely detailed certain aspects of Laugh Tale or some things in the grander scheme of things where the plot are moving forward towards beyond Onigashima's concern, as well as his, more than likely, his desire to open up the country for the person who's supposed to come. You know, either the reincarnation of Joy Boy, who knows. But yeah, so it's cool to see Yamato wants to actually join the alliance to actually combat Kaido. So yeah, and apparently she knows Is, because apparently she says, you know, Luffy reminds her of Is, which is no problem there. And that's where we really and truly end the chapter. Whew. Wow. That's insane. And the fact that Orochi and Kaido don't even know about the journal, that's going to be like a big talking point or plot point going forward. Whether it be in the finale of this arc or beyond this arc, the details of that journal is going to tie into the bigger story. So as per usual, Oda is connecting the dots, building the plot, building the world, building these small pieces that I feel are just going to come together to just be like something totally amazing. So yeah, it's yeah, I just never expected Yamato to actually be a woman. And funny enough, it kind of blends in with one of the sub, I wouldn't say theme, but one of the aspects of this art that Oda has pushed with like the character of like say Kiku, who's actually a man but is a woman at heart. And now we have Yamato, who's a woman, but you know she wants to be Kozuki Oden, so he she markets herself as such. You know what I mean? But I just find it interesting that Kaido himself still refers to her as his son. So it kind of makes me wonder and look forward to the interpersonal drama or the history behind Kaido and Yamato there. So yeah, but all in all, I thought this was probably one of the best chapters over the course of the last 2 to 3. But that's only natural because these chapters are naturally just building towards the climax of things. So yeah. But anyway, let me know what you thought about this chapter of One Piece. I absolutely loved it, especially since Oda just totally flipped my expectations onto their head while maintaining the quality of the story all the same. So yeah. But that's all I have for this one, guys. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you in the next One Piece video.